streaming.
Welcome everybody. I call the public meeting to order now. Just like to mention that Councillor Henry is away tonight. She's at her daughter's graduation, so we're a little priority for her, so that's good. So the public meeting this evening is held under the Planning Act and involves a zoning bylaw amendment application related to the property of 1241 and 1243 County Road 2. This public meeting is a separate item from tonight's regular council meeting. Procedure for the public meeting will be as follows. 1, to start, the planner will confirm how notice was given for the zoning amendment application, then outline the proposed amendment and summarize any comments received to date. 2, after hearing from the planner, the meeting will be open to anyone who may have registered a request with the clerk to attend this meeting to address council. I would ask that any persons wishing to speak on this matter to please give your full name and street address for the record. 3, once everyone wanting to speak has been heard, the public meeting will be closed. All questions should be directed through myself as chair. I will now ask the planner to advise how notice was given, outline the application, and advise of any comments received. Melissa?
Thank you. So for the public meeting being held tonight, notice was given in the Brockville Reporter-Times, and that publication occurred on June 3rd. This notification does meet the Planning Act requirements of providing notice 20 days in advance of this public meeting to give the reasonable public notice for the public meeting. Prescribed agencies under the Planning Act were also circulated as required. In addition, township departments were also circulated of the proposed amendment. So in addition, as per past notification practices, all property owners located within 400 feet of the property were given personal notice of the zoning amendment, and that was done by mail on June 1st. So it should be noted for the application being heard tonight that if anyone wishes to file an appeal of the decision of the township with respect to this proposed amendment and does not make oral submissions at this public meeting, does not make written submissions to the township before the amendment is adopted by bylaw or otherwise considered by council, then that person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of council to the Ontario Land Tribunal, and also that person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless in the opinion of the tribunal there's reasonable grounds to do so. Further, as noted in the notice of public meeting, if anyone wishes to be notified of the decision of council on this amendment, they need to make a written request for such notice to the clerk. So with respect to this specific amendment before council this evening, this is a 6.32 acre property. It abuts the St. Lawrence River, and it's comprised of a number of existing structures. It's currently zoned RV, Village Residential Zone, and CV Village Commercial, on a small area on the east side of the property. The applicant is seeking to rezone the property to a site-specific CV, which is a village commercial zone, which would permit a number of permitted uses. The list of permitted uses were detailed in the notice. Some of the uses will be referenced in a holding symbol, and they would be permitted upon further hydrological assessment. Those specific uses that would go in that holding are hotel, laundromat, microbrewery, microdistillery, motel, restaurant, tavern, and tourist establishment. As part of the amendment, some new definitions are being introduced, including a biological field station, community garden, marine rental facility, microbrewery, microdistillery, and wildlife rehabilitation facility. A section of the property located at the west end is also proposed to be placed in a holding zone that will restrict any new development subject to further archaeological assessment. And there's a few other further amendments proposed to the property. It's seeking to permit a maximum tower height of 32 meters to allow for roof construction onto the existing tower. It's requesting a wharf setback minimum of 2 meters to the east lot line projection. And is also requesting removal of the need for a provision of a holding space on the property. Any new constructions or modifications to existing buildings or change of use does trigger site plan approval. So at that point, site servicing, on-site access driveways, on-site parking, lot grading and drainage would need to be assessed and approved by the township. So with respect to any comments received to the application to date, we did receive an email from the fire chief advising of no concerns, but that a more in-depth review would be required at the time of site plan approval. Our chief building official did advise of no concerns with the application. Civ Nation advised that they didn't have any concerns with the amendment, but that permits approvals may be required under their Ontario Regulation 17006. They asked that those comments be provided to the applicant, and staff have provided that to them. Those are all the comments received to date on the application.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. We will now open the floor for any public comments. Anyone have any comments? Any comments going once? Going twice? Does anybody have any public comments? Going 3 times? Okay, we'll now close this public meeting. Okay, I'll call the regular council meeting to order, and we'll start off with the reconciliation statement. I'll ask Councillor Pate, do you mind?
Absolutely. Augusta Township is situated on lands deeply connected to the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Huron-Wendat. We acknowledge the location of archaeological sites identifying both an Iroquoian agricultural community and an Iroquoian village in the township. With gratitude and respect, we are committed to learning about the history of and current aspirations of Indigenous peoples, such as uncovering the truth about residential schools and cultural revitalization. We recognize and respect the contributions that they have made and continue to make on these lands.
Thank you. Okay, mayor's remarks. What I've done since our last meeting. So I attended emergency management workshop at Prescott for the senior elected officials, myself, the CAO, and Chief Bowman, and yes, our public works manager, John. So we did that. It was informative. Our CIO and I attended the OAPSB, which is the Police Services Board Zone 2 conference, which was at St. Lawrence College a week ago. And just basically we're learning that we've got to take training sitting on the board. So anyway, it's done by the Minister of Solicitor General, and it was all good news for all, because everybody, a lot of them my age, saying we got to take training. Okay, so anyway, so be it. They asked Chief Mark Noonan to say a few words basically on his police force. Chief is the police chief of Brockville. He was pretty blunt. He has a good police force, but he's really, and his officers are really frustrated at the courts. They lock him up, they let him out. So he said we're not the only police force, it's like that all over. So I had the honor to Pastor Keith Krause of Maitland. I attended his, I'd say, celebration yesterday. He's 60 years of being ordained, and he's retiring, of course. So we wished him luck and gave him a certificate. There was the 75th anniversary of South Nation Conservation Area. Deputy Mayor went to that, and I think he'll give us an update on that on his report. We've looked at, over the last 2 weeks, we looked at the land acknowledgement, and which Councillor Pate just read, and we decided to not tweak it, but change it a little bit. We do have problems pronouncing some of the names, and I've been to a lot of meetings where there's land acknowledgements, and I haven't heard one person say it the same anywhere. So that's why we kind of took a look at it and said, okay, how can we keep the same respect, but kind of change the wording so we're not embarrassing ourselves or are being disrespectful? So that'll probably, you'll see that in the next meeting. Ms. Tricky sent out, WMIS, again, more training, I guess we gotta do for counselors and all the staff. I've taken WMIS 300 times, I think, in my career, so. Anyway, I did mine this afternoon, so, anyway, I handed it in to the CAO, so. I just want, the deadline's end of July, so please do that. And other changes we made, and you'll see in the next agenda, next meeting, is we looked at, myself, the deputy mayor, the clerks, and the CAO, just basically got together and said, okay, how's other communities doing their council meetings, and how can we make it flow better, and are we getting all the important factors in? So we looked at ours, and ours is a bit of repetition in it, so we actually took out moving into the committee of the whole. So we're still gonna do it tonight, but on the next meeting, I think you'll see, and we kind of explained it in the, one of the staff reports too. So if you read that, you got an idea what's coming up. Okay, that's about all I have in my remarks. It's a busy season, June and July, for mayors, I don't know. I sat on my computer this afternoon and I had, within an hour, 4 different engagements come through, so I guess we don't deserve any sort of a vacation, but that's fine. So, anyway, so I'll start. Moved by Councillor Pape, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans. Be it resolved that the amended agenda for June 26, 23 be adopted to include closed meeting. So we want to add a closed meeting tonight. Discussion, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Winans, second by Councillor Pape, be resolved that council approve the minutes of the June 12, 23 council meeting as distributed to all members. Is there any changes, additions? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, there's one error in it, and staff present, we missed the little guy, John Staggs.
Oh, okay.
Little guy.
Okay, the clerk's gonna look after that, thank you. Is there anything else? Okay, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and nature thereof? This is tonight's meeting? No one has anything? Good, thank you. Any business arising from the minutes? Yes, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, there's one item, and that was, we mentioned about ag review that the counties are doing, and there's a discussion that we're probably gonna have to have because they've included a lot more ag areas, and some of our settlement areas are completely enclosed in that ag and the Invista site. So we're probably gonna have to have something on it that we send a report back to the counties and leave this before the end of June.
Okay, so the staff report our planner did in the package here. She's got to amend that, or is it totally different?
Something maybe should be added to that.
Okay, so,
Sure. Through your worship, yes, I do have a staff report, and a council would like to add to that, depending on how you feel about the recommendations in it, and add something further, and we can discuss that when we come to that report, and we can provide any comments that you'd like back to the county before the meeting. If you want to request further review when there's some more mapping out,
okay. Delegations and presentations. Don't have anybody online, no? And correspondence and petitions. So we have on here Dog Days Festival donation request, Mr. Rob McAndrew. So Is somebody online, or
I don't believe that they came, it was just a request by
did they have a letter or anything?
the package.
Okay, we are writing, say North Augusta Township Council, but we're writing this letter to formally request the event permit fee of $250 be waived for our event on July 23rd from 11 o'clock to 5 p.m. Dog Days Festival is a local not-for-profit festival seeking to provide safe community gathering for humans and their furry companions. The event is a local fundraiser for Eastern Ontario pot cake rescue that depend on donations. Additionally, the Dog Days event aims to provide space for local vendors to network and sell their products. The goal of this event is to provide space for friends, family, and the community to come together in hopes of raising money and having fun. The event will take place outdoors at the Spotted Acres Boarding Facility, 9401 Kyle Road, North Augusta, which has obtained the proper insurance requirements as outlined in the bylaw. The 2023 charity recipient of the Eastern Ontario Pot Cake Rescue. Attendees will be required to pre-purchase tickets to ensure proper accommodations for the number of people present. The proceeds from tickets will be used for overhead costs, including renting outdoor bathroom facilities, and the rest will be donated. If there's any outstanding questions, please contact Ms. Motala at 613-794-6966. So this is Dog Days Festival organizers. So moved by Councillor Page, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans, be resolved that Council waive the special event permit fee of $250 for the Dog Days Festival, nonprofit fundraiser for Eastern Ontario Pot Cake Rescue for the event on July 23rd, 2023. Comments, discussion, the councillors? Yes, Deputy.
Well, I think it's good that we show we support something like this, that, almost everybody, the majority of people are pet owners, and, anything that can be done to raise some money for the awareness of different projects is good, and this is one that, it's basically a donation by us, that doesn't cost us anything.
Any other comments? Okay, call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, we'll move into Committee of the Whole. Moved by Deputy Mayor Winans, seconded by Councillor Page, be resolved that Council resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole meeting. All in favor? Carried, thank you. So, committee reports. First of all, from the counties, I had a Committee of the Whole meeting, 22nd of June, and we talked about the model of care, mostly for the Maple View Lodge, and the new one going up. So that took a lot of the conversation. And then we talked about our audit was, the county's audit was approved at that time too, so. And we had a joint services meeting, we got a joint services meeting coming up 4th of July, and another Committee of the Whole meeting coming up the 5th of July. That's for County's Council. Any questions on that? Anybody? Okay. Okay, next we have the Conservation Authority, Deputy Mayor Winans.
Yeah, I attended clean water meeting this afternoon at Finch, the Sanitation Conservation, and they had a presentation there by a group for the Children's Water Festival that was held at Maitland Towers, and along with teachers from St. Mary's, so they got going again for next year. It was well attended, and thank you very much for Maitland Towers for hosting them. Also at South Nation, just a while ago, they had their 75th anniversary. I gave a flyer out to all council, and it was well attended, and they also have a report on the state of the nation. So, birthday, we had, the watershed tour for Rideau Valley, and it was well attended, and it was a full day project there, and they took care of us, that was well. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. And next we have the recreation committees, so councilors, Mr. Payne?
So for Roebuck, I just got word that the Trillium grant has been accepted. So they're going to be getting a generator and upgrading the electrical of the building. So that's good for that building. The playground, they expect that the designers will be back in July to get the zip line in and hopefully the merry-go-round.
Okay, good. North Augusta?
Yeah, North Augusta, well, finally, the hydro's been disconnected, so Fast 80 can go ahead and, we're supposed to start working on taking the building down, and then we'll go from there.
Mark?
Through your worship, I was unable to go to the meeting, but, CAO, went for me, but I have some notes here that they're doing a barbecue. Their barbecue is scheduled for September 9th. Their annual general meeting is October 17th. The committee is thankful for the township for their support over the last few months. The committee is planning to relocate the panel from the diamond lights from the hall to the shed. And their inquiries for rentals are on the rise, which makes them very happy, so. That's all I have.
Who does the booking still for that?
Mark.
So it's a
Yeah.
volunteer?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have someone to do that.
Okay. Maynard, it's Councilor Henry, but I'm gonna ask the CAO to say a few words, because he actually visited all the recreation departments in the last month.
I have, so certainly I can give an update on the Maynard project. They are planning on meeting tomorrow night. They are still going through the CCRF as far as doing some renovations to the outdoor rink as well as the pickleball. So they're just gathering all the pricing right now and hopefully moving forward on that in the next few weeks.
So any update on the building or anything?
So we did receive a report back from Pensions in regards to the building, and certainly at this time, we are keeping it closed due to some further investigation that needs to be done. So some work needs to be done there first before I think we are very confident that we can open it back up to the public. So there's some work needs to be done in the mechanical room as well as some work in the ceiling tiles. So I'm assuming that part of our meeting tomorrow night will be to discuss that, and then we're looking at meeting again next Tuesday, and then hopefully have a report back to council July 10th. Probably an update on all the recreation committees that I visited over the last 2 months.
Good. Thank you. Library Board, Councilor Bowman.
Through your worship, the library board had a plant and book sale in May. It did very well. They have 6 new patrons. They are doing senior computer classes, which they're hoping to start September 29th. They had put in a request to look into a grant for a pickleball court as well at the old rink, which we kind of said, well, we said no because there was other works in, but they would like to have something maybe when it came budget time to look into something for that, what they could use for the old rink. Summer reading program is starting in should be started already. Crafts for mid-July and mid-August, and they're thinking of doing a paint night in the fall for a fundraiser.
Good. Any questions, Councilor Bowman? All right, Economic Development Tourism Committee, they had their meeting, but we gave that last meeting, report last meeting. PAC, I don't think you've had a meeting?
No.
And administration, do you have anything, CAO?
Nothing more to update at this time.
So administration and finance, I report 2023 -069 procedural bylaw amendments. So it's moved by Councillor Page, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans, be resolved that council review and comment on the amendments to the procedural bylaw. So, any comments, discussion on that? You've had a chance to read that. I think the two main factors were removing committee of the whole, and I think the other one was, business arising, I think was taken out too. Clerk, you want to say anything about it?
I'm going down to the form at the end as well, to make it a little easier if you want to do a notice of motion. Other than that, I was just trying to check something. Sorry, bear with me. I found it. Just for clarity as well, I was, it's not in the amendments, but it would, if you guys decide that that's a good idea, it would be in the actual one for the next meeting, but maybe add to the closed session that all materials be returned, just for clarity. It's your document, but it's also the next council might, it'll carry over to the next council, so
Materials you mean such as?
like if I could give the minutes or if I give you a presentation from somebody that's part of the closed session, you're not to take them out of the.
No. Right, actually closed session, you should be taking it out, and it should be done on colored paper. So,
Okay,
really, because that's how you
yeah,
voice,
yeah.
like
that
leaving
you're
the
not-
room, so.
yeah.
That's your point.
But yeah, so I would just recommend maybe adding that if everybody was agreeable.
Okay.
If it's not in there.
And we talked about basically, if we pass this and, we'll get new booklets. If the changes made for sure. Okay, I think we agree with you. Any comments, anybody? Discussion, yes, Deputy.
Yeah, I think it's just adds a bit of common sense to our agenda, and it just clarifies a few things.
Anybody else?
I think it's good. I think it's good.
I'll call the question, good. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, I have report 2023-070, and it's moved by Deputy Mayor Winans, seconded by Councillor Pape. Be it resolved that council authorize staff to coordinate a pitch-in day for September 16th, 2023. Discussion?
I noticed that they're looking for a place, and maybe we could approach Glenwood Snowmobile Club. They've always been quite well worked with in the past.
Yeah.
And we should probably, all of us, maybe look for some sponsors. I think if you want it, it's usually a really good one for corporate stuff.
Yeah, Tim Hortons too.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Report 2023-071, draft bylaw to prohibit and regulate noise. Moved by Councillor Pape, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans. Be resolved that council accepts the information as presented in report and provides directions to staff on the draft bylaw to prohibit and regulate noise within the township of Augusta. All right, any discussion, councillors?
There was nothing in there about agriculture. No exemptions for agriculture, agriculture is exempt under provincial law, but, it should be noted in the,
Noted as for even the times?
agriculture goes 24/7 now.
Yeah.
But, so, and I'm thinking like, we've just got the new mushroom plant.
Yeah.
If they have to operate a night shift, like a third shift, then, this may prohibit them.
Well, that's
So,
not
and they're in.
That's also classified under industry too.
Well, but that's an agricultural industry,
Yeah.
it's in an ag zone, yeah.
Councillor Pape, do you have anything?
No, I think it was well written. I mean, you know, we could probably put in specific wording for agriculture, but aside from that, I think it was very well put together.
No? So everybody read every little sentence there, because you'll have residents asking for it. Sorry, CAO?
Just the one thing to add to Deputy Mayor Wine, so what we can only put in there as an exemption is normal farming activities. We see that quite a bit in some of the bylaws, so we can certainly add that, and, you know, I think tonight is more just to kind of get council's comments on what they see in the bylaw. We're still being reviewed internally by staff, and certainly it's being reviewed by some of the residents, especially that are dealing with a lot of the noise issues right now in some of the areas, so we want to compile all that information and certainly bring back a final document to council sometime in July or August, and, you know, certainly hearing from council first on what your main priorities are will help us direct to bring a final document back.
Okay, thank you. There's a draft bylaw on our website already?
No, it's not. No, certainly we can put it up there if council wants to get to feedback, but
I believe it is part of the agenda package.
it is part of the
It's
agenda.
in the draft.
Yeah.
It's on the website as part of the agenda package.
Okay, alright, so, alright, so tonight is just basically a draft to air some things out, so start taking note of them, and then we're gonna come back probably in the next meeting, and we'll pass it, or do whatever we decide on, so, okay? Alright. I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried, you? Next I have report 2023-072, draft bylaw to license and regulate short-term rentals. And moved by Deputy Mayor Winans, second by Councillor Pape, be resolved that council accept the information as presented in the report and provides directions to staff on the draft bylaw and supplemental documents regarding the regulating and the licensing of short-term rentals within the township of Augusta. And as you all know, we've had complaints since resident complaints since last year with short-term rentals. So, and a few times the police have been called and everything else. So I know there's a few out there that have no problem at all, but there's a percentage that's giving us great problems. So other townships, I know Skananaquy is looking at it, Leeds and Thousand Islands. I know CAO comes from South Dundas, they had to put one in too. It's just more of a common thing. Everybody's using, you know, short-term rentals as vacation, and especially along the St. Lawrence. So open up discussion, comments. Yes, David?
Yeah, well, I think if we don't regulate it, we're putting ourselves up for liability, because we've been informed of the problem. Now that we look at the problem from the residents, and if we don't come up with some kind of solution, look at other municipalities, see what they have, because if an accident or something happens, I think we're gonna take a certain percentage of liability.
Anybody else? I do like the part where it says that they haven't paid their taxes, they lose their license. I'm glad that was in there. CAO, you have a few words?
Yeah, so certainly, as the same with the noise bylaw, it is a draft. It's a little bit more comprehensive probably than the noise bylaw, and certainly, you know, we wanna take the time to make sure that we get it right, and the residents, on Burnside have been providing us with comments. They've been doing their due diligence as well too, and certainly we appreciate the comments that we've been getting, and certainly we wanna bring back a very comprehensive but fair short-term rental regulation as well as a licensing. Leeds of the Thousand Islands did do they went out and actually had a third party do a review, so I do have a copy of their June 5th report, which is quite detailed, as well as some other municipalities are doing a short-term rental guidebook on trying to educate people on how to properly run a proper B&B, all that stuff. So certainly I want to compile all this information together as well as discuss it internally with staff, but certainly this is a start to kind of get that conversation going, and then look at bringing back kind of a final draft that we can certainly enforce, and that we can certainly hopefully provide the residents hopefully some calmer nights and some peace and quiet throughout the summer. So we'll look forward to bringing this back to council.
You'll say something? Yeah, I had a chance to talk to, again, Chief Noonan in Brockville, and he said you're on the right path because, and not so much in Brockville, but again, along the waterfront on the outskirts, they get it too, so. And it's the only way they can respond is when a bylaw is broken, and they're breaking the laws, so. Again, this is, I notice there's, the public is in tonight, but you'll have a chance to ask questions on this near the end of our meeting. Anyway, we'll just, again, it's a draft bylaw, and I'm saying it tonight so that it gives the councilors a chance to say something, but over the next 2 weeks, we'll take all that information and bring it back to council again and make a decision. So, I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Planning and Building Services. So here we have the United Counties of Leeds and Granville Agricultural Area Review. And I'll read it here first. Moved by Councillor Bowman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans, be resolved that Council receive report 2023-068 for information that this report be forwarded to the United Counties of Leeds and Granville for consideration of the 3 recommendations respecting the proposed agricultural area review as detailed below. 1, that the areas in Augusta Township currently designated rural settlement areas under county's official plan remain unchanged and are removed from potential designation to agricultural area. 2, that consideration be given to applying a limited buffer area around the rural settlement areas where these lands would remain within the current rural designations and not be included as agricultural area to allow for future opportunities for limited and minor expansions or boundary adjustments to current settlement areas. And 3, that areas in Augusta Township currently designated regionally significant employment lands under the county's official plan remain unchanged and are removed from potential designation to agricultural area. So, Melissa, do you want to say a few words?
Sure, for your worship. Yes, the county's, Deputy Mayor Winans has been on the technical steering committee with me during this process. The county has released the draft mapping, the LEAR mapping of the agricultural areas. It is quite extensive from our current designations. And once the county's official plan, once they make the changes to their official plan mapping, we will need to do an official plan amendment to reflect those changes. So our agricultural limits will need to match what they have. So they did hold a public information session, and I believe Deputy Mayor was in attendance at that. So this process is still ongoing, but they've drafted the mapping. The LEAR mapping at this point is basically the results of everything. They haven't tweaked the areas or done any rounding out or pulling back yet. But having a quick look at it, I understand that likely they're going to pull the settlement areas out. But it would be good for us to go on record and make sure that that happens. Also, staff are suggesting that the counties may wish, it might be appropriate to look at maybe a limited buffer, because some of our settlement areas, the designation will butt up right against it, which will make it a bit challenging going forward if we're to do a little bit of expansion. That seems to be the direction the province is taking with boundary adjustments to settlement areas. So it's harder to take lands, go from agricultural, take it out of agricultural versus if it was just rurally designated. So that is a suggestion from staff that maybe asking if the counties that's something they would consider. And then also there's a couple little areas in our regional significant employment areas, which is down in our industrial park, that are agriculture, which obviously we would like to have removed. We want it to remain industrial. So those were the kind of the initial staff comments. The comments the counties are asking them this week, but if council has additional comments or requests or concerns that they would like submitted to the county, If they would like to provide, some, a resolution with that direction, I can certainly pass those comments on to county on your behalf.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, well, one thing they've done on this, they've used the 1950 soil map. What OMAP did for their soil maps was, it was 500 acre block. They've broken it down now to 100 acre blocks, which adds a lot more in. And at the meeting, there was about 32, 33 people there. A lot of very upset residents because their land is now going from rural residential, put it into ag, which means they cannot get a severance. They were concerned that Impact was gonna look at their land and say, oh, it's agricultural land now, it's not just rural residential, so that increases the value of it. So they're gonna have to pay more taxes. And some of them don't get 25% tax rate, so it really impacts that. Even some of the farmers were concerned about that. So I think anytime you change the designation without the residents having any say in it, you're gonna get upset residents. So I think, and the methodology they used was going at 60%, which includes a lot more than if they had gone 65 or 70%. The higher the percentage, the less ag land you put in. So, and the other thing that the lady from Agscape that was doing it, she's a senior one, somebody's made a comment, well, we bought this farm and we're hoping to have a few severances down the road and make a little bit of money, and she said, land is not meant to be made money on. And just everybody got an uproar on that. So anyway, that's kind of where it sits, so I think we just gotta tread carefully on this, and we gotta watch that they don't include more than what should be.
So do you want to put in a resolution tonight to add to that report or anything?
Well, yeah, I guess we could, I have to work on it with Melissa,
Well,
but we have till the end of June.
No, which is only a couple of days, yeah.
For this one, yeah, so I guess we have to do it tonight.
through your worship, perhaps of what I'm understanding from the Deputy Mayor Winans is perhaps that council would request that when the next revised mapping is available, that council be provided an opportunity to review and provide further comment on. So again, because this mapping is just the whole results of the Lear threshold, it still needs to be tweaked and showing the proposed new limits that perhaps added to those recommendations, if council's okay with the 3 as posed by staff, maybe perhaps add in a 4th that council would request the ability to review and comment on the next stage of mapping in the process, so council has the ability to further comment and review and address any concerns.
I know we're asking, but are they gonna come back to us?
I don't know, which is why it might be good to ask the question.
Well, there's still more consultations up till September, when the final report comes out, and then it's gotta be passed by county council. But what we could maybe put on our website, and that is, Agscape said they will come out and visit every single person that is, their land is impacted. So.
Okay.
If anybody has a concern looking at the map, then, call the United Counties for Agscape, and they said they will have somebody come out and explain to them why.
Yeah, let's put that on the website. And make sure that somebody does come out and talk to the residents, so. Any other points? CAO, do you have your hand up? No?
No.
Melissa, anything else you want to add? Good job on the report, so, as you can tell, it's a touchy situation this week, so. Okay, I call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Moved by Councilor Bowman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans. Be resolved that council move in a regular meeting council. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, we have new and unfinished business. Is there any new and unfinished business? Yes.
I'll just add something I forgot, and that is the counties come out with, it's on their website, but you can call the counties and ask for a hard copy, and it's the United Counties of Leeds and Granville Agricultural Area Review Draft land evaluation and area review leader report for consultation. So they do have copies of these at United Counties, or it's on their website.
Well, even better, anybody wants a copy of it tonight, we'll run it off and give them a copy of it
Yeah.
before they leave. And is that okay with the clerks there? Yeah. Second pile on the work. So yes, if anybody would like a copy of that, make sure you get it tonight. Okay, notice of motions, any, none? No bylaws, announcements, any announcements? I have a few. Okay, as you know, I saw some of you answered, but we're giving a donation, financial donation to the Land Chartan rink, 12:30 on the it's Wednesday. So, 12:30 sharp is when we do it. So whoever can make it.
Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
Thursday.
29?
29th,
No.
Thursday, yeah.
I screwed up the day. The Desjardins Insurance seminar is tomorrow here at 1 o'clock. And I believe they're bringing up some goodies or something for us too. So anyway, anybody can make it, by all means. I'll be on the radio tomorrow with Bruce Wiley at 8:40, so we'll see how that goes this time. He usually cuts me off halfway through, so. Family and Children's Services, we got a notice there, possible strike on July 10th, although they said it will not hurt their serviceability. But again, it's just a strike over the wages. Counties has started another program, Foodie Shop Adventures. The launch for that is July 6th at Westport, and that's basically all the little, food stops or delicatessens, whatever, throughout the counties. I think there was 17 of them or something. Basically, they're gonna launch that and entice people to visit them all throughout the summer. I don't know how they get the time, but anyway.
They're not on there.
Yeah. South Grenville Chamber of Commerce is July 10th, and it's breakfast with Steve Clark. Tickets are $30. So I'll be going, I think Deputy Mayor is going. Anybody else is interested, let us know. It's just a good time to listen to what's going on and really bend the ear of the minister too sometimes, so. Any other announcements?
Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one, tomorrow morning I'm going to Limerick Forest, you're all invited, it's from the Forest Committee, but it's also, Sandra Long's gonna be talking about the bioeconomy, your favorite subject. And then, that afternoon, I'm filling in for mayor at South Grenville High School commencement, so I'm kind of doing a presentation.
Good.
That's it.
Well, thank you for doing that, so. I mean, I try to get into everything, but I just can't, so. All right, and nothing else, we'll move on. Do we have press on the line, questions on the agenda items for the press?
No.
No? Questions on the agenda items for the public? So this is a chance the public has to ask any questions. Okay, good. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lyons, seconded by Councilor Bowman, be resolved that council